What's up, guys? I'm back here with another one with the Dyna. You guys just saw all the bars get done and put on. This one's going to be a fairly simple and straightforward video as well. We're going to be running the new headlight, the underglow kit, and probably getting the fairing on, but the fairing's going to be its own video, so that'll be next. But for right now, we're going to get all the underglow going, all the wiring done. That way I can get the tank put back on and get the bike kind of starting to look like a running motorcycle that's nice and fun to ride. So we're going to get right into that now.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink, cause I think I'm going all in.
Alright, so to start off with the headlight, it's fairly simple. You just need basically a little set of pliers and a Phillips head to get the beauty cover off. Ooh, these are old. You're not really able to get a wrench on here because they kind of sit. The nut kind of gets held in by the shape of the beauty cover. So just best thing to do, grab a pair of needle nose pliers, just kind of hold it in place a little better, make it a little easier to get the headlight housing off and everything else. Then once we do the actual fairing itself, we do have to change out the light block that's here. So we're gonna get something like that going too while we're doing this. Just take the nut all the way off. Simplest way of doing it. Now it's off. Pull the bolt out. Shove it back into the nut. You don't want to lose your nut. It's a tiny ass nut, so you don't want to lose it. Put it down right under it where it's going to go back. Now the next thing that we got to do is just pry this whole thing off. Shouldn't be too hard to do. Comes right out just like that. Put the beauty cover down here by the nut so you don't lose it. Unplug your little 3-prong right there. Easiest, most simple way of doing it. There's possible, depending on what headlight you go with, you might have to keep this. This might be a pretty important piece to keep a hold of. But this old girl, it's dim. It doesn't really brighten everything up, and it's only one headlight on the front. You kind of want it to be nice and bright, you know. We're just going to set that to the side. Going to grab our new headlight, and we got to pry out the little rubber condom situation here because it's not everything's not going to fit through the hole the way you want it to if it's in. So we just kind of got to work it out and pry it out. It's old ass rubber, so it's probably not going to go out all that easy, but just kind of got to figure it out and get it there. I'm going to grab the new headlight and try to work that rubber grommet out real quick. Alrighty, so we got the headlight out, everything else we got the little rubber grommet out. Now for the plug for the new light, basically to get that plug into the hole, you kind of got to waller out just a little bit of the hole, make it a little bigger so it fits a little better. Welcome in, Cassie. Now we're going to go ahead and get the actual headlight put back into its home, or she'll be happy. Right there. Just about right there. Get the beauty ring out here again. Get the beauty ring put back over everything. So it holds everything all nice and snug. Get the nut and the bolt. Change up the seating position so I can be a little bit more comfortable while doing this. Get her started through the hole here. Try to at least, because she's not wanting to cooperate right now. There it is. Now that it's all cooperating, you can get it all started. Just hold the nut up to the bolt. Grab your nice little screwdriver. There it is. Man, I'm losing screws and drivers. Okay, now that you got her started, and you're starting to get her all nice and snug down, just kind of take a quick look at the front of the headlight here to make sure that it's even with the bike where you want it to be. Move the beauty ring down so it's correct. And snug her on down so she doesn't go nowhere. You do want it tight. You don't want it to be able to rotate or move or anything. She's rotating a little bit. Could be how I had the beauty ring put in there. I could have done something a little wrong. I might have put the beauty ring in backwards with my luck. So we're going to take her on back out. See if we can just take the nut off enough so we can still get the beauty ring out. Not having any issues. Nope, got to come all the way off. That sucks. There we go. Take the bolt back out, put the nut back in the bolt, or the bolt back in the nut. Male end into the female end, you know how it works. Earring back off. I might have put the beauty cover on wrong. Oh, it would appear I did. Yeah, she's stuck. Okay. She was just a little wheezy stuck. Come on, come out of there. Thank you. Gotta unplug this because I gotta spin that around. Pretty sure I put the beauty ring in there backwards. Come on, work for me. Thank you. And you just kind of get this thing on in there. Oh, yeah. That's how she likes it. Yeah, I just had it in backwards, it looked like. Yeah, it looks like I was just backwards a little bit. All right, plug everything back in. Happens to the best of them. You know what it is. You know how things work around here. We don't know what we're doing half the time. We just guess. All right. Now then, get her back in correctly this time, preferably. Now she's even there where we want her. Beauty ring back on. Beauty ring's back on. This thing kind of lined up evenly. Stay. Be good. Don't move. I'll have to throw you in the dumpster if you do. For the typically difficult part. There we go. Okay, now that the nut's up there and you're holding the nut good, got the screwdriver. Get this thing all going back in the way she's supposed to. Okay, now that it's all figured out correctly, when you start tightening her down and you start really tightening it, you want to just make sure that the light is lined up the way, especially when mine has a certain way that it's got to be vertical and such. You want it to be on there correctly. You don't want anything to be wrong. Just make sure that she's on there good, and then cinch her down. But she doesn't move, she doesn't rattle, she doesn't make any unnecessary noise that you're not going to want her to. That's what she said, though. All right, so there's the headlight. She's on there. She ain't going nowhere. She ain't moving. That's how we want her to be. Now the harness is actually all done up correctly. We can get everything kind of organized and put back where it goes. Unfortunately, the harness that goes to the tank is going to run just under the tank, so that'll be okay. But all these other wires and all the bar wires and everything else, they can start getting shoved back into their homes. So we're going to go ahead and come over here and do that. So come on over. See this big old mess of wiring right here? All that's got to be shoved back into the frame. We undid all that when we did the bars. So we got to shove all that back in. There's the bars, wiring, the harnesses for the bars. They just kind of got to get shoved back in their home inside the frame. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It goes back in on its own, fairly simple, as long as you can find the hole. Yeah, I said find the hole. You want to do them together, because if you do one at a time, then you're not going to have all the room in the world to do it. To do the second one might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. All right, now that we have 5 feet of wire shoved back into a tube frame like a fucking idiot, we can move forward. In the next order of business, I'm going to tidy all this up, all the wiring up, zip tie it up, make it look all nice and pretty and professional and clean. Then I got to run the next harness for the other electrical that we're doing. We're running the headlight harness. We're just going to run it on the top of the tube frame. So it'll be between the tank and the tube frame itself, well, the square frame itself. So it's going to look a little cleaner. It'll be a little nicer. We don't want everything to look totally ugly, but we'll have it all nice and cleaned up. And a lot of this inside of here is going to be hidden anyway, so it's not like it's going to be the biggest of deals if it is visible a little bit, but we'll get it to where we want it. So I'm going to get set up to do the next thing, and I'll check back in with you guys. All right, now we do have to hook the old girl up to a battery charger real quick, because the battery is very, very dead. Bike won't start or nothing, but I figured I'd shut the light off a little bit. So it's going to go to the positive, go to the ground, plug this old lady in, and then go to the key. There's the old light. I don't have the halo part hooked up yet, but there is a halo here. that will come on. But we got low beam, we got high beam. So everything there works. Everything looks good so far. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this back down. Take everything off. And then going to get the harness going for the other kit that I'm doing. But we do got to get this thing all nice and kind of going as well. So that's literally going to sit inside the hole for the seat. Zip tie it all together and all that fun stuff. She's going to go up just like that. Run down through. Or she'll actually go down alongside. Frame there. That looks like it would be a little safer and a little better. So we're probably going to do that instead. Yeah, so now I got to get the other kit out to get that thing set up and going. Here's what we got going next. We have an underglow kit from Dark Eagle that we're going to put on here as well. Comes with, it looks like just a mess of wires, so that's fun. 2 extension pigtails, some electrical butt connectors, the actual light kits, and all the remotes, goodies, and it looks like the other little doohickey. I'm going to go ahead and move all this stuff out real quick. This is fun to do. I did one of these on my Road King as well. So the Road King had underglow for a while as well. Yeah, we should have a harness somewhere around here to do all the extra stuff. Honestly, all you really need is the positive and negative to go. This is for if you're going to hook up to turn signals, and I believe there's another hookup as well that you can use. But all you really need is the positive and negative. So there's already a fuse in here. There is already a fuse. Perfecto. Yeah, and then this guy just kind of runs however it sees fit. Go towards the front. We're going to do one right here because the fairing will hide it pretty well, but it's still going to glow behind the big fairing. We're going to do some under the tank and stuff like that. So we will start getting stuff ran. This is the extension for one of them to go towards the front, and then we have another extension in here to go towards the back. We got to lay them out to see exactly how we're going to do these. It shouldn't be too difficult to do it all. The longer ones are going to go under the tank. We got some really short ones. We got semi-short ones. We should have 2 really long ones. Okay, so that's the longest one here. These 2 match in length. Each one of these should have one that matches itself. So I believe this is one of the 2 really long ones. Those are going under the tank. Then we've got this matching one here. And the short ones to match as well. Haven't decided which one I'm going to do up front yet in here. It'll probably be one of these short ones. Short little guys. Probably be the best bet. Yeah. It'll all look pretty nice and clean. Yeah, it'll probably be this one here. It's small enough so it's not going to cause anything major at all. I might do one right under the front triple tree. The other short one might just go right here. It'll be hidden because of the fairing and everything else, so it should look nice and decent. So yeah, we just have to decide where we're going to put them. But that is a decision to be made here in a little bit. I got to run a harness first for it. So yeah, good times. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get set up to run the harness and figure everything else out. All right, so we ran pretty much all the front underglow kit. It's stupid simple. You just have a relay. You got a positive and a negative that goes into a relay. Then it's got a junction that has a whole bunch of wires coming off of it that you just run it to where on the bike you want it. I got the ones for under the tank mounted. Not mounted, but they're hanging, ready to be mounted. I got the one for under the triple trees and on the front of the triple trees mounted. Now for the harness here, everything's kind of gross and ugly right now. We're just going to go ahead and start zip tying stuff up to make it look a little prettier, a little bit easier to manage once we start putting the tank back on and everything else. I don't want everything to look insanely ugly. I want it all to be somewhat clean. So we did get zip ties with the kit. Came with a mess of zip ties, so we're going to use them. Just so we can make sure everything is nice and clean and organized and kept up off the heads. because you most certainly do not want any electrical laying on the head. It's not good. It gets too hot down there. These are all heat rated, but all the electrical plugs and such are heat rated and stuff. We just don't want anything unfortunate to happen. So we can get everything all nice up and mounted. Make it look all nice and pretty. I have another big ass bird on the roof of my garage, so that's fun dealing with that. And there's a nice little gap here as well. Well, there's a big insulated wire that runs here. So we're running all of our electrical for all this stuff above it. That way there's a nice little heat barrier between the head and the electrical that we are running, because we did not put any heat type insulation on it. That's a lot of work. We just didn't do it. So yeah, it's all run to the back. Everything's all nice and wired up. We can actually get the tank going back on now. So that's going to be a bonus. We're going to get the tank back on, get everything hooked back up, make it look all nice and pretty. So yeah, let me get set up to put the tank back on, and then I'll be right back with you guys. All right, got the tank set back up there. We're going to go ahead and get it bolted back in. It's supposed to be, at least. All right. This side first, get it started. Get everything on both sides nice and started. That way, at least it makes it easier, in my opinion. Don't start torquing it down until everything's started. So you can make sure everything's lined up the way it's supposed to be. Then we got to get this rear bolt started, which is the long bolt that goes all the way across the frame through the tank, which is right here. There it is. She's just instantly going to be a bitch to go on. All right, that works for me. Same size too? It is not. It's one size up. How about this size? Yeah, that's the size. Cool. Where's the wrench? That's not the wrench. There's no way that's the size. Oh well, we can start getting the fronts tightened down at least. that side's tightened down. Grab the other side. Side's down. Now we just got to tighten up the back. So I just got to find the wrench for, which I believe is right there in front of my face. Need that though. I'm assuming he was using this. All right. Tank's all back up and mounted. Now we got to just get the dash put back together. It's right there. Perfect. Dash just needs to go back together and everything should be honky-dory and ready to get set up on. Which that should just be clipping back into place. I don't know why it's not. There it is. This guy just goes right on top. Right up and over it. This little line here just goes straight back onto the top. It's just a little vent, basically. A little breather, if you will. For right now, until I can get an extension, this is going to stay off of it. It's the turn signal light, high beam light, neutral light, all that stuff. It's an older bike. If you can't find neutral on it, that's your own problem. You got your own set of problems to deal with. Is this clip in right here? It's not that clip in. It is this clip in. I was wrong. Okay. These two bolts up here started. We're not putting the leather strap back on it. I don't like it. I think it's ugly. So it's not going back on the bike. That one's back on. Okay, now that the dash is back on and the tank's back on, we can zip tie these wires together so they're a little cleaner. And now that the tank is definitely back on, we can throw the strips on the underglow for it. Strips on the bottom of it for the underglow, I should say. English wasn't Englishing though. We got some vent lines back here just to shove back on again. Got the main fuel line right here to shove back on. Everything goes back on fairly simple. I do like it. The harness is hidden pretty well, so I did a good job there. Don't quite like how I did this, so we're gonna take this back apart. This is the fuel tank gauge harness. I don't believe it works right now anyways, but we're still gonna at least make it look somewhat clean and professionally-ish done. Just like that, okay. Go up and over everything here. Find the hole, it's a little dark in there. There it is. Just gonna go right up there, I believe. I believe that's where we're gonna stick it. Right there. That'll do it. So there's that, right up against the petcock, and then just shove her on up in there and stick her in. Okay. Moment of truth here. And not to fuck it up at all. Pretty hard to fuck up a set of underglow, but you never know. If there's a will, there's a way. Just like right there, it's not wanting to fucking stick. So that's helpful, I guess. I did clean the underside of the tank, so it should be fine to stick up in there. Should stick on her own accord. Just gotta give it some pressure. Under pressure. Do, 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 do. Oh, honey, honey. So now that we have underglow there, I think it should work just fine. If you really feel too bad about it, after it's on, you can get a little heat gun and just kind of give it some light heat while pressing it up there. It'll help adhere. But I've never really had an issue with one of these kits. I've done multiples of these kits on different bikes. So I've been around the block. I've done it once or twice. I promise. All right. Now I got to go to the other side, do the other light under the tank over there. And then we should be done with the front end for the lights themselves. So we will go ahead and tighten this old guy down here. The front's all done too. Got the underglow on the front where I want it. We're going to test all this definitely before we're done though. So we'll get a test going to see if it lights up and does all the stuff it's supposed to. Got to go do the other side light now. Figure out how I'm going to stick this puppy in here. Just like that, I reckon. That was easy. Okay. All right. Don't stick to anything before your time. There it is. Okay, just like that. Easy as pie. This side's a lot easier to hide because of the way the tank is fitted. It's a little easier on this side than it is the other side. But while I'm over here, I'll tighten down the crossover line. Crossover line up to where it's supposed to be. There it is. Tighten her all down. All right, there's that. Okay, We got the underglow on the front. We got the headlight on. We got the tank back on. Tank, I believe, is all rehooked back up the way it's supposed to be. Probably should have hooked everything up so I could at least test the battery, well, the dash, to make sure the dash works. Let's do that real quick. Make sure the dash turns back on. Make sure I didn't fuck nothing up with it. Yep, dash comes back on. All the lights are flashing and freaking the hell out. Sounds about right. Yep, then the fuel gauge is, lights come on, but nobody's home kind of deal, you know? Yep, that's where we're at here. Got the headlight done. We got some underglow set up for under both sides of the tank. Tank's all back on, nice and pretty. Got the bars on. We just got to clean those up and hide all the wiring, do all the fun stuff. Get the back end of the underglow done, get a new battery for it, get the fairing put on the front, and that'll be everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys again next time.